Hello and welcome back to my channel. So on business management, you said we will be talking about today contract because this is continuation of what we learned in last video. So what is a contract? Contract is not what you know generally. No. Now we'll be learning about this concept which is related to law, business law concept is. So if you have to learn about contract, you have to understand the definition, the concept of contract. So contract is an agreement which is made between two or more parties which the law will enforce. So you can only consider it as a contract only when it is enforceable by law. So in the Contract Act, that is Indian Contract Act 1872, it is defined in section 2H that contract is an agreement which is enforceable by law. So every agreement and promise which is enforceable at law is a contract. That's the concept of contract. So an agreement creating, defining obligations between the parties is what we are trying to understand. Now, in the definition we have learned enforceability by law. It should be enforceable by law. Then only we said it will be considered as a contract. So what is enforceability of an agreement? An agreement, what the concept of agreement is, every promise and every set of promises forming consideration for each other, we call it as agreement. Now what is that promise? Promise is when a person to whom the proposal is made, he signifies his assent. What is an assent? Assent is that we are giving our acceptance. So the proposal, then it will be said to be accepted. So when I make a proposal, you should accept it, then you can call it as a promise. So a proposal, when it is accepted, becomes a promise. So an agreement is an accepted proposal. This is what is the concept. Now, to form an agreement, there must be a proposal or an offer which is made by one party and it is acceptable by another party. So what is agreement here? Agreement is equal to offer plus acceptance, right? That is what is enforceability of an agreement. Now another concept what we have to understand much before we go into depth of contract is consensus ad idem. Now what is consensus ad idem? We are saying one person proposes, the other person accepts. So one party proposes, puts a proposal forward, the other party accepts it. Now this should be, that means the parties to the agreement, because we said there should be two or more parties, then only you can enter into a contract. These parties to the agreement must have agreed about the subject matter. Now again, there should be existence of subject matter in an agreement. So the parties to the agreement must have agreed about the subject matter of the agreement in the same sense, at the same time, in the same manner, right? You cannot understand whatever I proposed in a different manner. That's why there should be consensus ad idem. Unless there is consensus ad idem, there is no contract. There cannot be contract. There can be no contract. So there should be. That means you should understand the subject matter in the same sense, at the same time, in the same manner in which it was proposed to you, right? That is what is consensus ad idem. Now ad idem. Now what is obligation? Obligation is a legal type which imposes upon a definite person or persons the necessity of doing it. We cannot only say that to do is an obligation. Not to do also, that is, if you are asking that person to abstain from doing a definite act or acts, can also be called as obligation. So it must relate to social or legal matters. That's what is obligation. Now an agreement which gives rise to social obligation is not a contract. It should give rise to legal matters. Okay, so this is what is the meaning of contract. We learned the definition of contract. We also looked at what are those different parts of or different content, the content what we are trying to understand in the concept, right?